Magic Hour is it's all over the place. It's a weird, it's a really fun, kind of weird, sometimes conventional, sometimes traditional, sometimes totally bizarre, all over the place, kind of board game album. It really is just from one song to the next like a completely different, it just takes you on this sort of journey that you never kind of know what kind of song you're going to end up with next. And I love that. Our last two albums...
It's a continuation of the first record, but in a more modern production sense.
Sure, yeah. The second album was, in a certain way, like a continuation of the first record with certain sounds. But as far as conceptually, what our first album was like, this is more along that line. It almost sounds like a collection of singles or something rather than a cohesive album. This album was very different. Not very different, but there were a lot of collaborators on this record. So there was all sorts of combinations of people in the studio. I've usually felt like we've closed the studio down in a lot of ways when we're writing. I don't like a lot of people to be around when we're writing music. But this record, it seemed like there were a lot of people around. And we made it really fast. And there were kind of constantly people coming in and out of the studio. Our friend Amanda Ghost, who executive produced the album, she's such a crazy woman and doing 10 things at once that she's in and out all the time and bringing people in and out all the time. So I had to get really used to writing songs suddenly with people around.
We had talked about this before, that it's hard to pick one song that's representative of an album that is like a collection of different formats of songs. This is kind of, I guess, the most broadest type of pop song. You know, if we consider ourselves a pop band, if you had to distill it into one word, we like to write and present songs that are universal, yet still have a quality and a character to them, and that was kind of Horses. So I'll just tell you now, this is a final bow. If you don't know the way to hold me, let me show you how. And if this is the end, best place I've ever been, it feels so good to just get lost sometimes. We always agree to these things, like when we get treatments for videos and we're like, oh, it sounds fine getting paint dumped on our heads. That'll be okay, I'm sure it'll be fine. To the baby daddy's credit, he did voice hesitation about paint being dripped on us, and then, you decide, well, they're the video directors, they must have an idea, and then you go and then there's no other idea. You're just simply have paint poured on you. That was awful. The thing about that video is I didn't want to be standing around. The last thing I wanted for a video of that song is me being like, singing. I would have been embarrassing. Our lives changed when we started, when we put out our first record and just started going. And it just seems like it's been almost, 8 years since that album came out. And it's felt pretty steady. I think if any of us has changed, it's been probably for the better. I feel like we're a little bit more laid back now. I know I'm a little less wound up than I used to be. I used to be a lot more high-strung, I think. Now I don't care as much about certain things. It is and it isn't like anything that's high-profile. Everything, all your insecurities, they're unavoidably bubble up to the front of how you present yourself, your fears, everything is really put out there. So if you're someone that has issues with, your looks or how you're presented, talking, being social, you have to find a way of existing in that world very quickly or you will fail. I love Twitter. I've been on Twitter for a couple years now.
and it's a blast. I use it every day. I think it's a great way to, I think it's an awesome way to be able to connect with fans. It's really nice because you can respond to, I can't use Facebook because it's too, my brain can't get around it. I find it really difficult, and it's just like, it just seems like email, you kind of have to respond to everybody. With Twitter, it's like, you just respond to people, but you've only got this much, so it's just like, you can say hey to people, or, you know, make somebody's day by wishing them happy birthday, you know, in one moment, and I love that. I think it's really cool. You can post, you know, pictures of yourself in, you know, your underwear, and people get really happy. No, it's a blast, and it's also great to like announce stuff. You can, you know, surprise people. Guess what? Here's a new song, that kind of thing. Amanda Ghost, who's executive producing our record and kind of helping us sort of, you know, helming the boat and getting everything organized and stuff. She asked me, what do you think of Pharrell? Would you be interested in writing with him? And I was surprised that he would want to write with us, and it was really an honor to work with him and watch how he works. So when you're writing with people like that, sometimes you just see, you know, you see something very different from what you do. And that was, I loved writing the melody with him. He's got an unbelievably beautiful voice. And he just does interesting things with melody that I would never think of. So when I think of Donna Summer, I think of all the inspiration that I've gotten from those albums and all the digging through them that Baby Daddy especially and I have done. And I also think of meeting her. I took a meeting with her a couple years ago at the Ritz in New York. We were talking about working on her record with her, and I don't know, I sat with her for an hour, and it was crazy to be in her presence. And then Robert Gibb, of course, it's so, their vocal stylings, I mean, have obviously influenced this band. Like, to, you know, we write songs in their voice sometimes. On our new record, Inevitable, I mean, it sounds like a Bee Gees song. And I sing like them. So, you know, it's something to, I mean, for me, it's something to really celebrate. The fact that, like, here's this band that has been so influential to us, that without me imitating them to a degree, we would never have the hodgepodge of sound. We would never be Scissor Sisters. There wouldn't be a Scissor Sisters the way there is. So they're probably, if there was any of the, like, probably one of the top 3 most influential.
The DNA of Scissor Sisters.
The DNA of this band. Yeah. Hello, I'm Jake Shears.
And I'm Del Marquis.
We are from Scissor Sisters, and we would just like to say hello, TVN. We love you.